Hi Kids Place kids! I hope you're doing okay. It's Sunday morning and I was going to make some fry bread. It's a no yeast bread so that you don't have to have yeast. I know a lot of people for bread in the bag maybe didn't have yeast at their house. But for this recipe, you're just going to need 1 cup of flour, a half cup of yogurt, a half teaspoon of baking soda, that's the small one, a half tablespoon of olive oil, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You're going to first mix the dry ingredients together, so I'm going to drop the camera down so that you can see what I'm doing. I already have some cooking in the fry pan. So I already measured out a cup of flour, and then I already measured out a half teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm going to measure out a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You're going to take a fork and mix all your dry ingredients together, and then you're going to add your liquid ingredients. I made a batch and mine turned out kind of dry, so instead of just adding a half tablespoon of olive oil, I'm going to add a full tablespoon of olive oil and see if it's a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to add a half cup of plain yogurt. And you want this dough to come out about like if you were making Play-Doh or salt and flour dough, so that you can kind of play with it and it doesn't get all sticky. Mine was a little bit dry, the first little batch I made, so I had to add a little bit of water to get it a good consistency. But you want it to be about like this. So you're going to mix it together, and this looks like it might turn out a little bit dry also. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And if yours turned out too dry, add water or olive oil. And if it's too sticky, add a little bit more flour. And then you're going to want to knead it together until it gets to a nice consistency like this. I used whole wheat flour because that's what we have right now. But I think it'll taste good. But you could use whatever kind of flour you want. I also thought these might be good with a little cinnamon and sugar when you cook them in the pan for something a little bit sweet. These are some of the ones that I already made, and you can make shapes. I made a little pig and a little sun, and then I just made a round one and I put almond butter and fresh strawberries on it. And I made another one that I ate, and I put almond butter and some of the apple jam that Russell made for me with his parents for Christmas, and it was pretty good. So you're going to just spread a little bit of oil in your pan. It doesn't have to be thick, just a little coating. You're going to make your golf ball size piece of dough, and you don't want it to be too thick or it could be doughy in the middle. So you want it to be about 1/8 of an inch, under 1/4 of an inch thick. And then you're just going to put it in the pan for 2 minutes on each side. So I'm going to peek at these because I haven't had a timer on, and I'm going to flip them, and they look just about right. I do think they'd be good with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar. And that's all there is to it. I hope you guys will try making some pan bread. You just need 1 cup of flour, a half cup of plain yogurt, a half teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to say a tablespoon of olive oil because mine turned out dry both times, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then maybe some water. If you decide to make shapes like flowers or suns or piggies or something, to add the pieces onto those, use a little bit of water, just like we did with clay at Kids Place. You mix the dry ingredients together, and then you add the yogurt and olive oil till it's a good consistency to play with, and then make some fry bread. It's pretty good. 2 minutes on each side, about on medium heat, with a little bit of oil in the pan. I hope you're doing okay. I'm doing fine. I'm gardening and I'm walking and hiking, and it's going okay. I hope it's going okay for you guys. I miss you, and I hope I get to see you pretty soon. But if not, have fun. Bye, Kids Play.